أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for having me as your honored guest. What I say first and foremost is directed toward myself. I am the one most here in need of guidance. All that is good in this message is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I thank and praise Him for them. All that is wrong or ill within it is from myself, and I seek His refuge and forgiveness for it, inshallah. Dear brothers and sisters, we find ourselves in challenging times today. For so many of us, the reason that we are here in this country, the reason that we brought our children here, that we decided to raise a family here, or that we stayed here for many years, is that we felt that no matter what, our government would look out for us. That we felt that no matter what, individuals, even our society, may have a problem with our deen, but that no matter what, we were all equal under the law. And since I came here last, we found that that's been sliding and eroding. The calls that advocacy organizations are receiving these days are constant from people who are afraid, who are unsure, who don't know what the future holds for them. They say, I never thought that as a Muslim here in this country I could be called a second-class citizen, that I would be considered at risk by the rest of the people or the government, that my relatives wouldn't be able to come here. Every day when we turn on the news, we're seeing constant reports of Muslims from around the world who are separated from their mothers, their fathers, their sons and their daughters, their wives and their husbands. Every day we're seeing reports of people who don't know where to go anymore when this country shuts its doors. People who have been trying to get here for years, in some cases, to be with their family, to be with their friends, to find work. And they've had the door shut on them, simply because they say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Simply for that reason alone, we find that we're treated differently these days, and not in a good way. Alhamdulillah, many of you have heard that last night the restrictions, the hold on the restrictions was allowed to continue, and that means that probably for a few more weeks at least we'll see no change. But I want to let everybody know that the law is still on the books regarding that. The ban is still on the books, and we're going to continue to fight against it, and other groups are going to continue to fight against it, but just so everyone knows, the battle is not over. We as a Muslim ummah here in this country are still finding ourselves treated differently. But the sunnah of this example from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not of capitulating, it's not of despair. It is of looking at the experience that we have and of saying this is a tool for the betterment and the spreading of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world. In this dunya, this is an example, a mithal, and a reason and a cause for us to double down on our efforts. We cannot imagine the mistreatment suffered at the hands of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam within his own time. Anything that we face is but a drop of his persecution, of his pain, of the suffering of those early Muslimin. Anything that we might come against is but a glimpse into their daily reality, brothers and sisters, and we have to remember that each day. How many of the early Muslims were separated from their own family? How many of the early Muslims were cut off from their friends, were forced to leave all of their worldly possessions in search only of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When they emigrated to the Yathrib, later Medina, this was a city full of people they did not know, full of a society that was very different than theirs in many ways, even though it was not too far off. Very, very different rules, customs, economic trade rules, cultures. But they said, what is more important to me than my home, what is more important to me than my family, what is more important to me than anything in this dunya is the akhirah, and that lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family members said, you must make a choice between the land that you know and love, this Mecca, this city, and all that follows within it, your heritage, your people, your family, your culture, your history. And you must, if you choose to follow this religion, sever that. It must be cut through your faith or through your identity like a knife. And he said, I take my refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, the message from that time that resonates throughout history, even into this moment, is that we will never know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all that we need until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all that we have. It is only when we recognize that all of those structures that we relied on for protection in this world, our wealth, our family, our legacy, our reputation, our careers, our education, even our government, are but fleeting structures built out of sand that can be washed away at a moment's notice. The only support that we have in this world, brothers and sisters, is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who transcends time, history, family, and is ultimately the only resource and ally that we have. Indeed, we are told constantly by Ahl Kitab as well. If we remember their stories, we are told over and over again in the Quran, in the Injil, in the Torah, over and over, that this kind of story is nothing new, that we as a people are facing nothing new. Isa alayhi salam's parents, Maryam and Yusuf, they were fleeing their town, their city, their country, precisely because of a registry. Precisely because they were going to be named and cataloged by an evil king who said, no, we will sort out each of you as we will wish, and those who follow into certain categories we will exclude, those who fall in these categories we will accept. And so they had to flee, and they left. They said that, Maryam said, that which I am bearing within me is greater than the country which is outside. That spark of life which dwells within me, and that I know that I must share into this world that will reverberate for 10,000 years, is greater than my homeland. It's greater than my connections with any government, with any people, with anything in society, with anything that would be outside. I will turn to that and cling fast, and she did. And we still tell her story today. Those are the examples that we must look to, brothers and sisters in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Duha, your Lord has neither forsaken you nor is he displeased. Certainly the latter shall be better for you than the earlier. Soon your Lord shall grant you something for which you shall be well pleased. Did he not find you an orphan and give you shelter? Did he not find you lost and give you guidance? Did he not find you poor and make you self-sufficient? Therefore, do not treat the orphan with harshness, and do not chide away the beggar. And be thankful and rehearse the bounty of your Lord. And this is a second vital portion, not simply recognizing those elements in our past which have been challenges, but of hearing the resonances of those words in the Quran, the resonances of that message for the time ahead. That we are not simply a forsaken people, that we are not simply a people who has been dealt so much harshness throughout history, and that unfortunately likely within this country will continue to be met with. But that we are a people who are already ordained to be overcoming that, who are already ordained to be in a more secure position. And the reminder there for even those who are in moments of challenge now is that we take those lessons of difficulty and we apply them when that difficulty has passed. Already looking ahead and saying, because I was told I was a second-class citizen, because I was told that I was not good enough, because my family was told that they might be the next who are at risk, I will have more sympathy. I will have more generosity. I will be more plentiful toward those who are meeting with that similarly down the line. Toward those other groups who are similarly being hurt right now. Toward those other minority communities who similarly need help and support, both in the future and right now. We are told that our due for the generosity which we receive is to give that generosity unto others. We are told that it is not simply a bucket that we receive into, but that we must continuously pour out of as well. That for every drop of karam that we receive, we must bestow it onto another. Whether that is in the form of zakat, sadaqah, charity toward others, caring for orphans and the poor, or social charity of saying, once we are past a social difficulty, we will help others to rise above that as well. We as an ummah will be better because of the hardships that are bestowed upon us, not worse. That is our duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is our duty to our Rabb and our Creator. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, in the very early days, in the first years after the revelation, not long, the people of Medina found themselves persecuted at the hands of those around them severely, more than, again, we will ever know or be able to comprehend. And within that climate, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam told them, you small group, go to Abyssinia. There is a king there, a Christian but a just ruler, who will care for you. Tell him your plight, tell him your situation, and go and seek refuge with that person. And they went. They made the arduous journey. And remember, this is not simply a phone call or an email to ask for help. This is a long, difficult journey with dangers along the way, the potential to starve, the potential to go off track, the potential to get lost or to get robbed, the potential to have your animals die or to be overcome with sickness away from a physician. But at the end of this journey, when they met the king, they described to him their deen. They said, "O king, we implore you for care, for support during these challenging times. You are our brethren, you are our cousins in faith, and we are looking to you for protection." And he bestowed it to them. He said, yes, I will protect the Muslims under my jurisdiction, under my rule, within my area, and no harm will come to them. Even after some of the people of Mecca came and tried to put a bad message in the king's ear. They told him, you cannot keep these people in because they don't believe in Isa alayhi salam. The king called them back, questioned them, and they told him, frankly, this is what we believe about Isa. We believe that he was not the Son of God, but we believe that he was an incredible individual, a messenger, that he was filled with the Spirit. And this is the story, and this is the story of Maryam. And after that, he said, you may still remain, for we are close in this deen. Brothers and sisters, I don't tell you this to be an exact one-to-one story, but I tell you this because it serves as a sunnah example that is relevant for our moment. We are a minority community here in this country, 1 to 2% of the population. We need to make sure that we are building alliances, that we are reaching out, that we are working together closely. And if everybody can please come and speak in closer here to the minbar, please. We need a lot of room, especially those brothers over here. I know you can't see me, I'm sorry for that, inshallah you'll still hear me. But if we can make sure that, alhamdulillah, subhanAllah, it's an incredible barakah when we have too many brothers in the masjid. It's a great thing. It speaks to the strength of our ummah. But during these times, during times of challenge, we are not told that we have to retreat as a community. We are told that we must reach out to Ahl al-Kitab, to our allies, to those who will support and help us, inshallah. But the Sunnah is also extremely clear with how we must go about them. It does not mean that we change 1 ounce of our deen. It does not mean that we compromise 1 gram of the deen. It means that we are professing outwardly and inwardly each element of that deen 100%, unapologetically, without question, without compromise. We are saying, we are Muslims, we are here, we are proud of it. And we need others to help us to stand during these times in the Sunnah. This is not a Sunnah of question of pride. This is not a Sunnah of a question of needing help from others. This is a question of saying, we are given allies by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who will support and help us, that we must turn to. Our challenge, brothers and sisters, is to make sure that in those moments, we are nevertheless upholding each element of our deen, that we are being ambassadors for our faith, the best examples in the world, the clearest articulators of our principles of our deen, that we are sharing it without question. Remember, going back to this story of the king of Abyssinia, the Muslims there did not apologize. They did not say, we're sorry we believe something different than you about Isa. We're sorry, this is actually, it's a little bit closer than you would think. They said, this is the truth, take it or leave it. This is our deen, will you help us or will you not? And alhamdulillah, in those circumstances and in countless others throughout history, the deen stands as the strongest argument in this world. Stronger than any of us can make. Goes beyond any questions about truth, goes beyond any questions that any person might have. It cuts to the core of who we are as human beings. And it is the most powerful thing that we can say. Brothers and sisters, we are going to be met more and more with challenges in the months and years ahead. But I would say that the moment in which we find ourselves is a disastrous opportunity. This is an opportunity in which we can forge new alliances, in which maybe neighbors who had not gotten along with us beforehand, now we can knock on their doors and say things have changed. Right now we will either stand together or we're both going to be cast out separately. Maybe you have an argument with a coworker at work, but now you can say the challenges that face us are so much bigger than some petty squabble over a parking spot. What unites us is a conviction that we are going to stand strong together in the face of any kind of opposition. What unites us is a conviction that we are only going to continue caring for the poor, caring for the weak, being able to do good charity and zakat as a Muslim community as long as we are a